The full fury of the Empire will be released on the rebellion. Happy May the 4th, everybody. We are in Coventry, Rhode Island, and May the 4th is not only a very special day to nerdlings around the world, it is Rhode Island's Independence Day. Today, 249 years ago, Rhode Island was the first state to declare freedom from Great Britain and independence. No better place to celebrate that than here at Spell Hall, the home of Major General Nathanael Greene, one of my favorite people ever in the universe. And if you guys watched our Savannah video, you saw his final resting place. This was his home. I'm going to walk around a little bit, talk about Nathanael Greene, go inside, talk about Rhode Island, and enjoy a beautiful late afternoon, early evening. I don't think that I've brought you guys to Rhode Island yet, which is super weird, but here we are. Nathanael Greene was born right down the road. This is the home that he shared with his wife, Catherine, and their 5 children. And this is also the home that he lived in while the war was going on and while he made fame as the brilliant military tactician that he was. Start off in this little cottage here to get your tickets to go in, and you go inside the house and a docent walks you around. So we did that, and I was quickly told that videotaping was not allowed, so I was able to get a snippet of the hallway. I'll insert that now. Oh my gosh. Original. Like, yep. They forged it here, and this was the... Oh, it's... Along with some photos. Nathanael Greene lived here from 1770 to 1776. Afterwards, it was owned by his brother Jacob. Here's the front parlor with the famous Gilbert Stuart painting of him. And here is the actual sash, as you can see he's wearing in the painting. The artist Gilbert Stuart was also a local Rhode Island boy with a beautiful home nearby. We'll be touring that at some point. But here is the dining room of Nathanael Greene's house, typical of the 18th century. And this beautiful fan was the wedding gift Nathanael gave his wife Catherine on their wedding day. You can see from this original wedding invite, they were married on July 20th, 1774. This is Nathanael Greene's actual personal writing desk. And here is his bedroom, looking much as it would have during the Rev War. This final room showcases the legacy of Nathanael Greene and just how much he has impacted our nation for the better. And if someone asks me if I want to hold a gun, heck yeah, here's me having fun with a musket. But that is all I was able to get of the inside. So we are outside now, headed towards the family cemetery. And this did encompass 500 acres in Nathanael's time. There was a large iron forge here, and they employed a ton of people. They were the biggest employer in the area at the time. These items were actually made on site at that iron forge and are still inside of the winter kitchen to this day. Nathanael Greene was homeschooled, and part of what makes him one of my absolute heroes, similar to Henry Knox, and those two shared a kinship, is they were both completely self-taught. His love of learning and books is really what propelled him to be the wonderful American hero that we know. Everything he knew was from books and from paying attention, self-taught learning. So Henry Knox, similarly, was self-educated, and they ended up, as young adults becoming friends. Henry Knox lived in Boston, Nathanael Greene here in Coventry, Rhode Island, but they end up swapping books and information. Both end up being generals in the American Revolutionary War under General George Washington, and both beloved friends of His Excellency General George Washington. Nathanael Greene is so important because he fought the entirety of the war. So, here we are, May 4th. If it's 1775, we're in the middle of the siege. Lexington and Concord, of course, had happened. George Washington isn't even here yet, but Nathanael Greene has his own military group going, known as the Kentish Guards. And he would quickly impress George Washington to the point where George said, yep, we need you, and we are going to send you, as things escalate, into the thick of things. And he would wind up at the Battle of Brandywine. We did lose the Battle of Brandywine, but we are here and important people stayed alive and our troops stayed alive. We were able to get out because of Nathanael Greene. And it was said by everyone, including the Marquis de Lafayette later, that he was just a military genius. No prior experience. He was a Quaker. He's known as the Fighting Quaker. He couldn't stay passive any longer because he loved liberty so much that he did end up parting ways with the Quaker Church, though those convictions were always a part of his psyche. It's very much what he came from. He goes on to save our butts multiple times throughout the war. From Brandywine to Valley Forge, he would be named the Quartermaster General at Valley Forge. And if you were Quartermaster General, you had like the second most or maybe just as important job as General Washington because you were securing all of the supplies needed. And again, we are here because people stayed alive. And the only reason that we got through that very difficult time at Valley Forge is because Nathanael Greene's genius in securing supplies, knowing where to move things to where men should be versus where the supplies should be, how to organize all that and keep everyone going when really they were just hanging on by a thread. He came in and saved our butts. Of course, he would go on to fight in many major battles. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and eventually General George would put him in charge completely of the Southern campaign. After others had failed, poor Benjamin Lincoln didn't have much success in Charleston or Savannah, but enter Nathanael Greene and things started to turn around. You could say in a lot of ways that the reason we won the war is because, I mean, there's several factors, but Nathanael Greene is a huge part of it. It wasn't actually at Yorktown. He was a huge part of the success there, and that is because he was actually north of Yorktown and made sure that troop movements were as such as to push the Redcoats into the area, forcing them into Yorktown where we could cut them down. And that is exactly what we did, and that was his idea. Again, the brilliance of his military knowledge and how to move men and where people should be, the planning aspect of it, he was absolutely brilliant. This is the Nathanael Greene Homestead Cemetery. Of course, he's not here. Again, we saw his grave. He was in that Graham vault in the Colonial Cemetery in Savannah and then moved to his own proper place in the square. But he has family members here. And there's lots of buggies. Also, similarly to Henry Knox, had a wonderful love story. So Henry Knox was married to Lucy Fluker Knox, and Nathanael Greene was married to Catherine Greene. And she was a bit younger than him, pretty common at the time. Not like crazy younger, but she was younger. And she was quite the lady. Similar to Dolly Madison, she was quite the Spitfire, known for being very beautiful, very vivacious. She spoke a lot, which for a woman was pretty outrageous at the time. She came from a Baptist background. We are in Rhode Island, founded by a Baptist, Roger Williams, and Rhode Island is fascinating, and I really wanted to come and celebrate it today on its 249th birthday to tell you that, you know, all these things tie in, but it's an amazing little state, big history. Rhode Island was founded on the idea of liberty and religious liberty, and Roger Williams was a persecuted Baptist. It's hard to believe, but it's very true. You know, different denominations of Christianity were being heavily persecuted at the time, and he wanted a place to go where people of different denominations could come together and live in harmony. He also treated the native population very well, worked together with them, and instead of doing dirty deals or going back on his word, he tried really hard to make sure that everything was fair and on the up and up, and that the land was purchased properly, and that everybody agreed on all of the terms. And I almost tripped on a rock. And that is what Roger Williams did. Basically, good vibes only here. Good vibes in Rhode Island. Good founding, good foundation to start something on, and so much history in this place, and it's a place we'll be coming back to a lot. I haven't been in a while, and the Providence area, which is kind of the area we're now, is not an area that I come to that often. We do go to Newport quite a bit, and my nephew's going to be going to college very soon there. And so we will be attending football games and hanging out in beautiful Newport, one of my favorite places. But this area just kind of evades us. I mean, we are 2 hours and 20 minutes from home. Got up this morning, thought, what are we gonna do? The weather was pretty nasty at our house. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling it. Today's the day. Let's go to Nathanael Greene's house. Let's talk about Rhode Island on the day of their independence from Great Britain. Ties in perfectly, and I'm so glad that we did this. So Catherine Greene, she is a total spitfire. Everywhere she goes, people take notice of her, not only for her loveliness, but her boldness. She was a very outspoken lady, and not in a bad way or anything like that, just a little bit revolutionary for the 18th century. Her and Nathaniel had a wonderful reputation. They were a lovely, lovely couple. People admired them and could see that they were go-getters. They were, to the point where Catherine would actually go follow him around on all of these adventures. She would go, almost into the heart of battle. She would, be around. Of course, during the Rev War, you had camp followers. These were women, families, different people with trades that would come around the camps and live on the outskirts to provide, laundry, cleaning, cooking of food, first aid, different things like that. Companionship, if it was, your wife. And that is what she did. So she was along for the ride, and in between there are a lot of letters. And thankfully there are good records of all of these things. Of course, we were victorious at Yorktown. That will be in 1780. And he was involved in so many things in between. So as we follow the timeline, he'll be coming up a lot. And I just wanted to make sure to go over that with you and, connect things as much as I can as they come about so that the stories start to come together, hopefully in a really real way for you guys. So after the victory at Yorktown, of course, things were not over. That was only 1780, and we had until 1783 with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. And there was some messy situations in between. Nathanael Greene was involved in that as well. But he gave up all of his money for the cause and signed a personal guarantee that everything would be followed as far as financial protocol. He did that and was never repaid by the government or the Continental Army. It was very upsetting. So he came back here and did have to sell the house and property and other things that he owned. And that is when he moved back to Savannah. So he goes back to Savannah, and the kids and Katie or Catherine come eventually meet up with him. And it's a very, very hot day in June. You guys know, we were there last month and it was hot already, and it was spring. I felt like I was gonna have a heat stroke myself. We were so hot in the humidity, especially coming from New England and going there. And I love the very real contrast, having just experienced this and being able to have it be so real. It's always real to me, but literally physically real, and be able to relate. And I love that I'm able to bring you guys on these adventures to connect the dots. But basically one day he was out on his plantation, which that was a whole debacle too. He was given the land, as part of recompense for his services. But the rice crop failed that year. And so he kept trying different things, but he was out surveying a different piece of land, had a heat stroke. He winds up at his friend's house. Anthony Wayne happened to have property out there and a plantation himself. So he went there because he wasn't feeling well. He told Katie, hey, I'm not doing well. She could see he was very ill. They go there, they try to help him, they call a doctor. But 18th century medicine, as it was often the case, did not pan out. Turns out bleeding a person does not help when you really just need electrolytes, water, salt, sugar, rest, and to cool down. But they practiced 18th century medicine on him, and he passed away. Though there's actually a strong possibility it wasn't just the heat stroke. He had all this stress and the financial woes, the moving, the selling of his place here in Rhode Island, along with the temperatures. He probably had an apoplexy or stroke, a stroke. a cerebral hemorrhage. And he passed away, and he was my age, 44. It's very hard to imagine that this 44-year-old guy, still young, I'm going to say 44 is young, you know, who had just come through so much, and through war, and through forging a new nation with key players. This beloved man, you know, would, whether it was just a sunstroke or a stroke, he would pass away in Savannah, Georgia at such a young age. And his wife was much younger than him, so later on she would go on to marry again and become quite wealthy in her mature years. And she did okay, eventually did get money on behalf of Nathanael as well. But that put a cap on a very amazing life, well lived. It's always interesting when you think about these amazing men and the way that they ended. I mean, going back to General Henry Knox, one of my other absolute favorites, who I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot about lately, especially with the Rev War going on and on. He actually died from choking on a chicken bone, which is really crazy. And my kids forever, when they were little, they'd be like, Henry Knox, you mean chicken bone guy? Yeah. Funny, not funny. I mean, when I tell you guys his story and everything he went through, it is just crazy. Just as crazy as Nathanael Greene meeting an end, whether it was, you know, heat exhaustion, a heat stroke, or an apoplexy. You just think, goodness, they were preserved for a time and did a very important job, and then I guess they were called home. Here is a bench dedicated by the Sons of the American Revolution. You can see Major General Nathanael Greene, 1742-1786, the savior of the South. One of his nicknames, we fight, we get beat, rise, and we fight again. One of his famous quotes. Absolutely love that. He's known as the savior of the South, the fighting Quaker. To his brothers in arms, he was a brilliant military strategist, and really part of the reason I'm standing here today in a free Rhode Island. Just love being in the footsteps of my guys, especially Nathanael Greene. He is such a good one. I hope that I am accurately portraying his greatness. We keep seeing, since it's May the 4th, the highway, like electronic signs in Massachusetts said things like drive like a Jedi, and they had ones that said the Millennium Falcon has seat belts, so use them. And Rhode Island has ones that say drinking and driving is the path to the dark side or something like that. I'm gonna try to capture it if I see it. I really want to see one of these electric road signs. I think it's so funny. We are on our way to downtown Providence to take you to the Roger Williams Park and Memorial. We can talk a little bit more about Rhode Island. You guys see that? Drunk driving is the path to the dark side. I don't know what voice that was supposed to be. I just did. Forgive my bad Star Wars impressions. Okay, well, King George in October of 1775 was saying full fury of the empire will be released on the rebellion. He told that to Parliament about patriots in New England. But he didn't know that we had some secrets up our sleeves that include a long history of liberty and freedom, servitude towards others, goodness, faith, and all around badassery. And here is a memorial to Roger Williams in Roger Williams Park, Providence, Rhode Island. There's a 250-year-old tree Right across from the statue, this park has a lot of commotion. Seems to be some interesting things going on all around us, so I don't think we're gonna hang out that long. Might take a look at some other sections of the park. This was built by the great-great-grandson of Roger Williams, James Williams. Really cute little red cottage. Sits here in the park, and his memorial is just over the way. And it's really beautiful. There's a zoo here, Japanese gardens, swan boats. It's really manicured and nice, but it seems like there's a lot going on, and there's some loud music playing, so I don't know. But this is the Japanese garden, and it's cool. It's free to go in. Just kind of walk around, and everything should be in bloom. Basically have some green space, some cherry blossoms connecting bridges in a waterway, but that is the extent, it appears, of the Japanese. There's a carousel over there, sort of a large mansion over there. People taking engagement photos. There's like kids on bikes. Really loud music. There's a zoo over here. Honestly, don't know if that music is like alive. Is that music alive? I can't figure it out. It is?
Yeah.
It is? There's like some kind of band. Is it I think it's Spanish. I don't know. I speak Spanish too, but it's like a strange echoey. I can't really tell. Gazebo over there. It looked really pretty when we were driving in, but it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. For lack of a better word, it's weird. Don't feed the birds, don't toppins the bag. Don't toppins.
Bird poop pollutes the water.
Bird poop pollutes my head when they poop on my hair. Whoa. There's a giant bird out there. Seriously, there's these weird giant swans. Some variety I've never seen. Do you guys see that? That's the rare Rhode Island giant swan. If we weren't under threat of thunderstorm and pouring down rain, it might be kind of fun. Competing music going on out here too that's really annoying. I seriously don't know why there's like loud music like coming from all directions. Different styles of music. Look at those giant birds. Oh my gosh, they seem to have swallowed up those people. So I do know that that is an old seal enclosure, because there is a zoo here too. That's the old seal house. They also have a lack of crosswalks along with lack of parking. Lack of police patrolling as well. That's what they really need. Evidently, rather than one designated zoo, they had animals just strewn throughout the park, which is an interesting concept. And this is where the seals were. This is a very strange place. Because here's the entrance to the zoo. You've got a beautiful statue of Lincoln over there. And over there, more drug deals going on. Return of the dinosaurs. And I can see dinosaurs peeking through this fence. A brontosaurus. Here's it's part of the zoo, and there's like a walk through, you know, dinosaur type of thing like I've seen at zoos before. I think it's a good zoo though. It would be fun to come back and do. Don't know what is going on over here.
There's a chair stop left side.
Oh yeah, there's some kind of like ride in there? Huh. Saying that on the surface it is manicured and a nice looking park, but I don't know that I'd be wanting to come back here. Capitol, it's so pretty. We're gonna go over and take a look. The downtown area is really beautiful. I brought the kids here, a year or two ago when we went to Comic-Con, down here at the convention center. It was a huge con, really fun, and we explored downtown and went into the Capitol first. Actually really excited to get back here. I love state capitals. I'm such a nerd. Completed in 1904. This is honestly one of the most beautiful state capitals in the nation. So impressive. We're not going to be able to go inside, but we are going to see what we can see from the outside. I have been inside before, and it is incredible. Of course, it's, you know, a state building, so it's open Monday through Friday, so we'll have to come back at some point during the week. But what a perfect place to be on the anniversary of Rhode Island's Independence Day. The thing is, this is just the back of it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says right there, May 4th, 1776. So today, 249 years of official statehood for Rhode Island and Providence Plantation, now known as simply Rhode Island. A place that has seen a ton of history in its 249 years. Some good, some bad. All of it very interesting. I'm telling you, little state, big history. Marble galore. See how it's like walled in and there's like all that green space down there? This is a ginormous state capitol. And I've said it before, I will say it again, they are not all the same. Some of them pretty small, some of them pathetic. Not all of them this beautiful. There are some beauties out there, but this one really, in my opinion, is up there. Certainly takes the cake. He said that he thought I like Connecticut's. Okay, Connecticut's creeps me out. It's like a giant Gothic building, dark and creepy. Maybe I'll take you guys there just to show you what I mean. I don't think we're gonna be there during the week. We'll try. At some point I'll take you guys there. I don't know if it's gonna be soon, but oh gosh, more music in a public space. Looks like they're having a dance class down there. Interesting. But yeah, Connecticut's is like dark Gothic, big creepy statue. This is like tons of marble and very, very grand. So this is technically the front. You enter through the back where we first came in, and that is where I came in with the kids a couple years ago. Obsessing over the fact that he thinks that it looks like there should have been statues on top of these.
Like sleeping lions or something.
Sleeping lions. Or horses, or... I see what you mean. It looks weird because there's nothing on those ones, but those ones have. Yeah. You can see the golden man on top. This anchor here that says Hope is featured on their state flag. I love their state flag. It's very different. It's nautical. You would have seen it inside the Nathanael Greene house. So that is the state flag. And it goes back to scripture, being anchored in hope. And I just love it, along with the nautical theme. Rhode Island's nickname is the Ocean State, so all of that nautical stuff plays into that. And wait until I take you guys to Newport, Rhode Island. It is beautiful. We won't be going there today. It's not close to where we are right now, but here is parking for the governor. So they could pull up and you could say, "Evening, Governor." The Lieutenant Governor. "Evening, Lieutenant Governor." We don't have a Lieutenant Governor in New Hampshire. It's very unique. We have a governor and something called the Executive Council, unique to New Hampshire, that is really cool because, well, we have a really good governor and had a good governor before this governor, but if that governor wasn't great, the Executive Council all votes and kind of keeps those balance of powers in, even within the governorship. And we really like the way that New Hampshire state is ran. It's very balanced, very secure, very budgeted and nice. Of course, every state is different. That's the beauty of America. We have states' rights as wanted by people like Patrick Henry. Like what one state has going on, you can live in another state. Maybe you like what they have going on. We looked it up, and Rhode Island is one of the few states that does not have a governor's mansion. That explains why I couldn't find it when I was here before. Like most states have a place called a governor's mansion where the governor of that state lives in. I know that seems pretty self-explanatory. But apparently when you become governor of Rhode Island, you live in your own digs. I'm sure they still make a fortune. But they don't get like a designated mansion. We also need to go to Augusta, Maine soon. They have a really pretty capital, and they have a lovely historic 1800s era governor's mansion across the street. That's another pretty state capital. Maybe a little bit smaller than this one, but pretty nice. Patrick Henry. Like Patrick Henry, I know no way of judging the future but by the past. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Remember, I'm also on Instagram at @that_historychick, on Facebook at @thathistorychick, and right here with more exciting content from early America and beyond. We'll see you soon. Bye. And remember, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, don't learn the hard way. Always, like George Washington, Nathanael Greene, Roger Williams, take the high ground. Bonus footage. Stopped in Boston because we want to get something to eat. It's getting later now. We're in the Back Bay neighborhood, and hey guys, we will be right back here in a couple weeks because we have a game at Fenway to go to, and I will bring you guys along with me. So that's gonna be fun. Haven't been to a ball game in a while. Do love a good baseball game. So that will be an adventure. Here's what we have going tonight. One of our go-tos looks good. A little preview for you guys of things to come, since we parked right by the park. Very iconic. Here's a little sneaky look for you. Of course, in New England, and especially Massachusetts, we have many firsts. Firsts and oldest. And this is America's oldest ballpark. To take a look at it when there's nobody out here. Last time I was here was my birthday, and we got evacuated because it was rained out and Fenway flooded, and I was only in a little dress. We had no rain jackets or anything with any of us, me and all my boys, and we were soaking wet, and it was so funny. I mean, it wasn't that funny at the time. But it was wild. Everybody was put in the basement of Fenway, and it was like water way up. Starting to rain again and get cold. Whoa, those are some big tour buses.
Whoa, lights just came on.
Yeah, they did.
Just got brighter.
An exciting happening place. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to taking in a game. I'm not a big sports person, but I do like baseball. Irish pub right there. Falche. Well, it's like a whole bunch of cowboys in there. I have no idea what's going on. People in line to meet somebody. You just never know. They must have just had a concert. No idea who. Limo. That's the MGM Music Hall there. A lot of big shows go on. Apparently there is a country show tonight. But yeah, we will be back soon. Oh, let's see.
Show anybody tonight.
Doesn't show everybody at night, but somebody was definitely in there. So, interesting. Devo coming. Durr. Interesting. I haven't been to a concert for a while. When Kay and I were young, man. Oh yeah. When Kay and I were young, we used to tear up the concert scene. We were going to like shows like at least once a week. That's actually how we met. At a concert. Many years ago.
Look at that giant head.
Yes, there is a giant glowing head. All right. See you soon, everybody.